but this is Ebony K. Williams. Okay, so Ebony K. Williams is speaking to, I forgot this lady's name. This is Ayanla. Okay, and they're talking about the inverse of this. Okay, so buckle up. Okay.
I will not ask you to indict men in this question, but I do want you to speak, Ayanla, to how women need to, I don't know, position ourselves so that we can be in our divinity, so we can have our crowns right, how we can create and not build, when some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to us, and I'm talking about across the country.
First and foremost, notice she's talking about being in her divinity.
Yeah.
That should be a tail sign right there.
Yeah.
Okay. That should tell you exactly what energy she's on.
Yeah, you
right
on
there.
You on some
weirdo stuff.
What other stuff?
All right. So listen up.
The spectrum, across the age spectrum. Trust me, I've done them all.
I've done them all. It's another.
Come on, sis. Yeah, you're not. We're not off to a good start here.
It's 2 L's back to back. Okay.
They are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not earning the incomes. They're not having the resources, and some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
Okay, so the claim is because, it's hard for the middle class out here. Yeah. Inflation, 7 million men right now out of the workforce, men who are of working age are not working. There's some hard stats, And so Ebony's question is, how do you engage with men? And then now listen to Ayanla's response to her, which is amazing.
Would you date a bus driver? Would you date
if he owns the bus?
Yo, it's like, did we all forget what a gold digger was?
If he owns it, if he owns the bus,
that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem.
Come on.
Because the standards and requisites, and I'm not talking about him laying on his sofa playing video games all day. I'm not talking about that. But the
look at her face. She got that. She got her.
She's upset.
She's standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in this society. I would date a bus driver if he loved driving the bus, if he was a man of integrity, if he was good to his mama, if he treated me well, I would date a bus.
So John, this is where I think women who talk like this and think like this end up catching an L. And this is why that entire red pill space I just showed you to is so prevalent.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't think this is all women. I think this is also a small minority of women that have this paradigm that they're entitled to a high value man. And this young lady, Ebony, is apparently 40 years old. She was engaged to a quote unquote high value man that fell through. Man. So on and so forth. Okay. So, hey, did you know that you can watch videos like this on the Spotify app? We now are on Spotify under Ruslan Bless God Podcast. So if you're driving and you want to go back and forth between listening to the podcast and just the audio or watching the video, consider doing it now on the Spotify app as well as all podcast platforms. All right, I'll see you over there. This is where women end up catching an L because they don't want to date a working class man.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you are okay with dating the guy who owns the bus, but not okay with dating the bus driver, and then you're asking where are all the good men at, in parts of the country, you can make a decent wage driving a bus.
Yeah, someone just said, I'm married to a bus driver and he makes more than me, and I have degrees and he doesn't. That's what someone just said right now.
So let's look up the average income of a bus driver. Let's look this up.
It's just so interesting, man, because it's like, even with, let's look it up, but with and I understand, you know what I'm saying? Like, one of the highest reasons for divorce in the country has to do with finances, and it has to all that kind of stuff, right? But what we're about to look up, actually, it proves that it's not about the finances. Mm-hmm. It's about, you want someone who others seem to think a certain thing about, and it has nothing to do with what he thinks about himself or what you think about him.
Yep.
You're a gold digger.
Yep. So this is the average income for bus drivers, 25 to 57K. okay, according to salary.com. School bus driver, okay, 25 to 57K. Now, she didn't say school bus driver. I'm sure there's some other bus drivers that make more than that. Okay, in Massachusetts, the highest school bus driver is $46,000, which, by the way, is the average salary in America. I don't know if you guys know that.
Oh, I did not know that at all.
Yeah, the average salary in America is around 40K. It's around 40K. And so if you want a man and you're frustrated why he doesn't have a man, you don't have a man, and you're not willing to date blue collar men, right? That you're kind of a part of the problem.
A large part of the problem.
Most men don't earn six figures. Most men. Only the top 25% of income earners earn over six figures.
It's just so interesting, man. It's like, I don't know, man. And I don't get it. I feel like you're just not very self-aware. You're just not, you just don't have a very good view of what you look like right now. You don't know, you have no idea what this makes you look like and sound like. And maybe you do, and maybe you just don't care because you're like whack, but I don't know. Like it baffles me.
Yeah. Hey, you want to see something kind of crazy? Over 75% of the people that watch this channel are not subscribed. Please consider subscribing and turning your bell notification on so that you don't miss anything we have going here. If you want to build a life with someone, a simple, quiet life, as the scriptures prescribe, and it's about love, integrity, character, companionship, and you don't need this lavish life, you can marry a bus driver and build a life with them.
Yeah.
As a woman, you really can. Now, if initially you guys probably both have to work for a while, you both have to build a life together, and you'd have to get rid of all your debt, and you'd have to live on a very strict budget so that if he's making $50K a year, $57K a year, so let's just say he gets to making on the higher end of the spectrum, you have to be in a spot where you can live on that if that's what you want, right? Oh, snap. Apparently Ebony's mom was a bus driver. That's a plot twist.
Oh,
indeed.
maybe that's why she's like, if he owns the bus.
Yeah, that's such a L, and it's sad considering the economic tension that most folks are facing, right? Considering the economic tension that most folks are facing. And here's the deal. Here's the flip side to all of this. If you are in your 30s to 40s and you want to date a man who owns the bus because you're too good to date a man that just drives a bus, or you're too good for him, whatever, the tension you're going to have to deal with is, one, is the man that owns the bus company that's your age going to want to deal with a woman like that?
For real?
That's question number one. So the guy that owns the bus company, is he going to want to date a woman like that? Number two, are you going to be okay with a man who owns the bus company and maybe he's divorced and he has a bunch of kids with different women? That's another thing. I think it's unrealistic for women who are 30 to 40 years old to say, I want to date the guy that owns the bus company and not be the type of woman that is attracted to. And if the guy is 35, no kids, and is, let's just say the guy who owns the bus company is making $200K a year. Is the guy making $200K a year who's single in his 30s gonna want to deal with an Ebony like that? Her. Is he going to do?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah.
He's probably not going to want to date a woman that thinks like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's the unfortunate part, that like that's the reality and the tension that a lot of people don't want to acknowledge is, if a man is 35 and making $200K a year, he's not going to deal with a woman like that. He's just not. He's like, but by the way, and that's the anomaly. There's very few, like a man in his mid 30s who's single and doesn't have any kids making $200K a year is like the 0.1% of the 1%.
Yeah. Most
men making that sort of money in their 30s are already married, as we looked at the stats previously. Yeah. So it becomes this tension. So my advice is meet a man that shares your values, that you love, and that you can build a life with, that you can build a godly life with. And that is often going to take time and decades. That is going to take time. That is going to take commitment. That is going to take a plan. That is going to take resilience. And over time, you can build an amazing life together, like me and my wife did, like you and your wife are doing, right? But that doesn't come overnight. That doesn't come overnight. Now, if you're already older and you're already in your 30s and you're like, yo, I really want to get married, you might need to date you might need to get married to a bus driver or a plumber or whoever, right? That's okay.
Yeah, and I don't know, like there's like this notion that like either you should marry someone who has it all together and is owning things or you should wait to get married until you have it all together. All these things is really ridiculous, you know. Like it's so funny. I love, you know, my wife's family, but a lot of the narrative when we were talking about getting married was just, you know, be prepared because like we don't think this is a good idea, and be prepared because when you guys get married, you're gonna be broke. That was like everyone was just saying that. Everyone over there, you know what I'm saying? And it was like, well, for one, we weren't. But then also, on top of that, you know, when I would talk to certain people, be like, hey, you know, when my wife and I got married, we had nothing, and being able to build together, those were some of the sweetest years of our life.
Come on,
you know what I'm saying? Like I talked to multiple couples who have been married for 25 plus years. They're like, yo, when we got married, we had a mattress, we had a television, and we used to eat on our boxes, on like the stuff that we, you know, brought stuff in because we didn't have a table. And those were the sweetest years of our lives. And now, like, we can look at all this stuff that we have and be like, oh, we built this together. And that makes the relationship so much stronger. So like the idea that you have to marry someone who is
already made and
already a high value man, shut up.
And listen, again, looking at the data, there's nothing like building a life together and becoming high value together, right? And that's the beautiful part. John Keith is going through it in real time. And yeah, you did get a lot of weird pushback from the family initially, and I'm sure it probably feels pretty good, kind of proving them wrong.
Oh no, yeah, it felt great. But it was also, you know, I was like, it was twofold. So when I first heard that, it was like, oh, well, you know, you guys are gonna be broke. This is a bad idea. All of these things. At first, my thought process was like, oh, I'm about to go so crazy and prove everybody wrong, and I'm gonna be him. You understand? And then God kind of was like, you were saying, go ahead and take a back seat and let me do it.
Come on.
Because they're not challenging you. They're challenging me. Saying, I can't provide if you do what I told you to do in my word.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
like marriage is a good thing. It is a beautiful thing. It has nothing to do with building success and then getting married. Marriage is a tool to shape people more into the image of Christ.
Come on.
Right?
Yes.
And so we wanted to do that. And so he said, okay, I'm going to provide. Because real talk, my plans for how I was gonna grind and get this money immediately fell through. You know what I'm saying? Like failed immediately. And so God was like, I got this. And you know what I'm saying? It's been beautiful. And that's not to say it's been easy.
Yes.
But we've not been broke. We've never been late on the rent. All the money that my wife makes at her job, she basically just gets to have for herself and spend for herself. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's
So you mean to tell me you're 24, how old are you now?
I'm 26 now.
You're 26 now.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me you're a 26-year-old sole provider as an independent Christian hip hop artist?
Yes.
It's pretty amazing, man.
It's shout out God.
Shout out God.
Because I didn't do it.
That's good. That's good. Hey, this is a segment from our daily after party stream. Consider partnering with us online for as little as $5 a month to get access to these daily after party streams completely unedited. You'll also get access to our podcast as they are streamed live into the community before anyone else gets to see them, get to interact with our guests, get access to our private Discord server, and a discount code for our store for as little as $5 a month. Ultimately, that will help towards helping us continue contextualizing the gospel using media and podcast here on YouTube. All right, I'll see you over there. Peace.